for some time until when Mwalimu Nyerere decided to give this piece of land for them. And this was strategically chosen. It is a lowland. When you are in town, it was very difficult to know what is happening in this area. And now they were moved from the senior youth sat in group with the junior one, and they were seemingly teaching the junior one the common subjects they used to study at school in South Africa. And when this information was brought to the then President Oliver Tambo, it was so touchy to him. And of course they decided that in this land a school be built. And the school was built, and the first school was named ANC School Mazimu. The school continued, and of course, as I said, there were two settlements here in Morogoro, separated by around, I don't know whether it's 30 kilometers or some less than that, maybe 20 kilometers, 40 kilometers, Dakawa here. So this settlement was used purely for civilian, and any military operations were conducted at Dakawa. And Dakawa was also used as a receiving end for those who were coming from elsewhere. So they were received there, and they were monitored. When they were convinced that these can be moved to Mazimu, to school, then they were brought here. So it went, the school continued to provide education for the youth until 1992, when apartheid regime collapsed in South Africa, and the president of ANC, Oliver Tambo, handed over these settlements, both the Dakawa and the Mazimu settlement. And during when they left, they left infrastructure which can be grouped into three categories. First of all is teaching and educational infrastructure. And in this area, they left 24 classrooms, 3 computer rooms, 6 science laboratories, 1 library named after Ruth First, and 1 big auditorium which was named Nelson Mandela Freedom Square. And this was a strategic auditorium where the strategic meeting involving both the Mazimu and Dakawa settlement were held. And of course, that auditorium is very useful for us today because we conduct examination for our students in that auditorium. They also left the infrastructure for social welfare. And these were hostels, and these hostels are distributed. We had, you know, we have a ring road. When you came, this road, you can go and go back to around where you crossed the bridge. And these units, these hostels are arranged in that order. So it starts from unit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 6. But during the time of ANC, they were named after prominent freedom fighters. And Unit 1, Thabo Mbeki, Unit 2, J.B. Max, Unit 3, Lilian Ngoy, Unit 4, Yusuf Dadu, Unit 5, Moses Kotane, and Unit 6, Bram Fisher. So these were the units. And in each of the units, there were these hostels, and they could accommodate around 1,424 students. But in each of those units, there were staff houses, and we had around 162, we still have them, 162 staff houses, yes. And we had also 4 lecture halls, okay, in these units. So 2 of them were cafeteria for providing food to them. And they also left 1 primary school, which is named after Chief Albert Lutuli. They also left, of course, for the social welfare. They also left the sports infrastructure, playing ground for football, netball, and volleyball. And they also left a hospital, and that was very, very important. My VC mentioned it. You know, during that time, most of the provinces in South Africa are almost temperate. And most of those who came, they had no immunity at all. And therefore, children under the age of 5 died a lot because of malaria. And therefore, the ANC Holland Solidarity Hospital, or Neil Agate Hospital, yes, was very, very important during that time. And as we will be visiting the Heroes Square, they reached a place where they said, we have run from an enemy at home, and yet we have found another enemy away from home, and this enemy was malaria. They also left the infrastructure for generating income generation, and these included 1 furniture factory named after Vui Silemini, and a big farm. And during that time, that farm used to produce a lot to feed the population, and the surplus was sold outside. So in a nutshell, those are some of the infrastructure which they left. But before they left, there was one event which occurred in April 1979. And this is, you know, after the uprising, the apartheid regime managed to apprehend 1 young, prominent ANC freedom fighter by the name Solomon Mahlangu. And when he was apprehended, there was an outcry throughout the world that the apartheid regime should not harm Solomon Mahlangu. However, they didn't listen, and in April 1979, they executed Solomon Mahlangu. As a result, the ANC decided to rename the Mazimu school, and from there, it was named Solomon Mahlangu Freedom College, Somafco. Yeah, and it continued until when they left. Now, in the 60th Council of the Sokoine University of Agriculture, which happened in March 1999, they decided to rename this area again, because Somafco had already left in 1992. So the council renamed the Solomon Mahlangu Campus, which is the name that is used until today. Yeah. So those are some of the infrastructure which they left. But Your Excellency, it is important to show that the tie between the ANC and the Chama cha Mapinduzi did not start when Mwalimu Nyerere decided to give this piece of land to ANC freedom fighters. But back in 1969, there was a very important consultative conference of ANC, which was done here in Morogoro. And that consultative conference drew delegates across the world. Most of people, most of us are aware that the ANC activities were banned in South Africa in 1960s, and therefore the leaders were everywhere, almost everywhere in the world, and therefore they gathered in this small town in Morogoro, and the conference started in 25th April 1999 up to 1 May 1969, sorry, 1969. And they gathered here to review the policy, the strategy, the leadership structure, and the plan of work of movement. By the time they finished the conference, they had made a lot of resolutions, which is considered to be a watershed in the history of ANC. So that is very important also to know that it started way back before 1978. So maybe in a nutshell, that is the history of this place. But after that, when they left it, because this infrastructure were used for delivery of education and teaching, many universities put up an application to be given this place because they were expanding enrollment. And SUA was one of them. Given the strategic location of SUA, then this place was given by SUA. And since then, SUA have been using it for offering degrees. And in this place, we have two entities by now. We have the College of Natural and Applied Sciences and the School of Education. So we provide science education for teachers, secondary school teachers. Thank you.
Edith, you want to ask a question or say something?
Yes. Thank you very much. Your Excellencies and distinguished guests. I think we are very grateful to be at this place, which is so significant to us as South Africa, and also to learn what you are teaching here. We, as the foundation, also has a school that is based associated with the University of South Africa, and we are looking forward to partnerships with your university as well, and joint student exchange, because we find this place as a very significant place for South Africa and South African students as well, and for students in Zambia to be able to do the student exchange joint programs, and because there's a lot of history that is here. And we also house a project called the South African Democracy Education Trust, which has produced volumes on the road to democracy. And this history becomes very, very important for the school in the future. I think there is a volume 11, which has already covered this Tanzanian history as well. And I think for new students, the new generation in this current moment, in the contemporary moment, to build the strong ties and for them to be able to understand what is their history and with Tanzania and all the liberation movements, history struggle, because I think without us teaching this liberation history, we are not going anywhere, and we won't be able to reignite the African Renaissance that we are talking about. And I think it is important for us to be here as the school as well. Thank you very much.
I must add to that, the Chancellor, and Vice Chancellor. We had a discussion with the Regional Commissioner not long ago. And one of the decisions we've taken is that we need to do something about producing a documentary of what he has just spoken about. Because what he has said, I haven't seen that except in the SADC books. You don't have an audio-visual story. This one that is told. So that even somebody down there can actually hear and see this place, including all of its elements that we are talking about. So we decided, the provincial commissioner raised this thing in a very nice way. But he was giving us an instruction, which we accepted. So we'll be coming back, Chancellor, a proper team, cameras and all of that, to tell this audio-visual story. of Somafco and then Sokoine University.
Yes.
Because these two institutions they are like this. When I'm not quite sure, but definitely we took a decision today that will be done. And we think that documentary history in that format to capture what he has said. So you already are appearing in that film, now you have to be part of it. So it becomes then available to a much wider audience. The historic importance of this place to the total liberation of the continent is very important. It's a very important part of not just Tanzanian and South African history, but of the history of the continent. So I thought Chancellor must just say that. So we'll come back here for that particular purpose. That's the Thabo Mbeki Foundation and the Nyerere Foundation together. They will attend to that.
My question is around the program that was run by in South Africa, bringing students. Were you still here? Were you here at the time, Deputy Vice Chancellor? Because there was a program that was run in South Africa for young people to come to take the journey to Tanzania and Somafco at some point. I'm not sure if you were still here at the time.
Well, I'm not very sure, but I think the program that were run during the Somafco is just the normal secondary school program that we are supposed to be given to secondary school youth in South Africa. You know, the problem in South Africa was the unequal education, and therefore when they came here, then they were given what they deserved compared to when we are segregated in South Africa.
No, she's talking about something else.
Yes.
Post-liberation that South African.
Yeah. Anyway, before 2019, there was a liberation tour by Somafco. Those who lived here, they used it to come every year, each and every year.
That's what she was talking.
Yeah, and they used to bring, of course, 4 of them who lived here. They brought around 50 other youths who had not been here, and they came and used enough adequate time to move them throughout this place and show them how they lived here, and show them every important area and the history of it. But after the 2019, after the COVID, then they have not come again. But it was supposed to be every year continuing. ANC freedom fighter died, then they will be bring the body here. And this is the map of Africa. I think you can see. And this is considered the center of the map of Africa. And this is the Congress wheel, which you will find in the South Africa ANC flag, and this is where they put the stand for the table, where they will put the coffin, and therefore they will lay the coffin here, and mourners will sit on that side, and they conduct a service, a traditional service, and then after service, then they carry the coffin and they proceed to the burial and the graves. So I think that is what they eat, and of course they put this shade because in this tropical area you either have sun or rain. So in order to protect, then they erected this one. Yeah. So then you can also, and it shows Pan-Africanism. So where Your Excellency, we are bringing you to the first grave in this place. They decided these were displayed for security purposes during but after that, then the ANC used to bring the marbles, which after the security.
After the
yeah. So.
Dumisan.
So this is Dumisan soldier.
Died on the 4th of March 1979. Do you know him? No. You know the surname?
Yeah.
Soga, that's a very famous as a priest. He went to Scotland, the Church of the Presbyterian Church. He went to university in Edinburgh and so on, qualified and as advocate. So they're one of the first trained black intellectuals. So Joe Soga, that's where the surname is. Soga is from that family. There's a famous hymn. Now, this is sitting alak. What does this sitting alak mean? Honor your promise. Yes. Yes, it says you're praying to God. Please honor your promise to look after Africa. Those are the language of it. It's written by Joseph.
1981. And Elliot Maroga was an animal lover. He used to walk with his dogs. And near by these graves, there is a river which is called Ingerengere, which cross here. And one day he was moving across the river and he spotted a hippo in the river. And because of the passion with animals, he rushed to play with the hippo. And of course, the hippo choked his waist and he died. And he was buried here. So some of them died because of other accidents, car accidents, and some other. Twala is on the other side. Edward Twala is on the other side. The son of Edward. The same place.
No, animal they call him Eddie, not Edward. This is an MK soldier. The MK soldier, these are the veterans, it's a recruiting detachment. It's a fast group. And you are right, Ellie was really in love with animals. I was saying that when we were staying together in Osaka, one of the things we used to do is to collect snakes. He'd go out in the bush there and collect snakes and put them in a brown bag. Because one of the colleges in Osaka used to collect snakes. So he would collect snakes there and come home with us and bring the snake in this paper bag. So we go to sleep with the snake in the house. And then in the morning we drive to town in the car, and Elliot's got the snake of his in the car. And as it says here, really in love of animals. Yes. And the hippo here was wounded. And that's why Ellie walked up to it. He really wanted to comfort it. It's just because he's saying that he's such an animal lover, and you are right. So the important attack. It's the same story I was telling you.
And out of the 97, 2 of them were exhumed, and one of them is this one. The other one is next after this one.
Yes.
Yeah. So those 2 were exhumed. The rest are intact.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Actually, I wonder who did the exhumation. It must be family. It must be.
Yeah.
Yeah. It must be. Yeah.
But President, this question of exhuming, the professor was briefing us earlier about some complaint with some general about the program in the country of at some point these remains might be exhumed, and there's that, and apparently there's a strong complaint here that that is the cutting off an umbilical cord between the link of the South African struggle and the people of Tanzania. That these people here are actually at home.
Yes.
I wonder if the president has any.
I agree with that. I mean, that's these people are at home. Yeah. I mean, there's no home better than this home. So that's why I saw this. The first time I know that there was any exhumation here, 2004, because there was a policy. There was a policy of the movement against exhumations, because we know the history, the connection between us. We can't say to the people of Tanzania, like we have these graves here, to say we've come to take away these people. Why you take them away? There's as much home as much at home here as there. And what statement are you making about the Tanzanians? When you say, I'm going to take this body, you are saying to the Tanzanians, you are not part of us. I don't trust that you can look after these people. They are better off in our hands. How can we make a statement like that? We can't, not as ANC people. Maybe somebody else can. So that's why I'm surprised to find that there are these 2 exhumations. 2004, I don't know how it happened. It must have been the families. The position that was taken was that if then families said, my child, my brother, my whatever is buried in such and such a place, we the family would like that exhumation. What the movement would then do would help the family to identify where the grave is. But the responsibility, entirely the responsibility of the family. Because the movement would not take a responsibility like that. Soldiers, everywhere. You know, South Africa has got an area they called Commonwealth graves. These are graves of British, Australian, New Zealand soldiers who came and fought in the Anglo-Boer War. Because soldiers get buried where they fall. It's global. And the ANC took that position. But as I say that, we took the position that in the event that families might say, my child is buried here, I'd like to assume, we would help to identify the grave. But it will be the responsibility of the family. It can't be the responsibility of the movement. And now you see the situation at home, the sense to get worse. We brought in the state. Now it means people who died in the Second World War were buried in France, in North Africa, wherever. The families can now go to the state of South Africa and say, look, I want my bodies, my grandfather's body exhumed. And the state would have to do it, because they've just set a precedent.
But there was
kuna watoto wamekuja pamoja na watoto walitaka iwe fashion moja, wasiweke idogo unaweke makubwa, lakini kuna watoto wapo wadogo.
Your Excellency, when they started burying here, they make different graves for depending on the age. So they made for small ones for children and the bigger ones for adults. But as you can see, the graves for children were so many. And when they came here, it was so touching to see many of these young children. And so they decided to make all the graves the same. So that, even the graves we saw there, majority of them are for children. Yeah. If you read the dates, then you will see either 2 months, 3 months, maybe 5 months. Yeah. But they made all the graves to look the same, so that only if you find detailed information that you can realize. But when you come here, you know for sure those for adults and these for children. Yeah, it's
No, really, I am very glad that we were able to come here at the Chancellor. I think this is a proper tribute to the people who lie in these graves here. That statement, that is a tribute to the entire humanity, is correct. I'm very, very glad indeed. I must say thanks to the university, Sokoine University, for looking after this place. And indeed, I'm glad that we have the possibility to come and lay the wreaths here to indicate our own respect for these people who are here, but also I think for the university, because the university plays a very critical role in the preservation of these graves and these tributes. And really, I want to say thank you very much for all of that. As I was saying,
and it was inaugurated by
this is an extraordinary story which must be told
Her Excellency Andy
for that humanity,
and
so that it knows
we have very strong
what Morogoro did, what Mazimu did
sends a very clear message
to achieve
that,
this objective which
these
is
people
stated
who are laying down there
on that plaque.
was not their cause was
But
not
it's
for
not
personal
Russians.
glory,
Thanks, Lord.
neither for distinction,
really a
but
very moving
for a
tribute.
noble
Thanks.
cause of our time, the liberation of the people of South Africa and the entire community. It's very strong. Thank you.
Your Excellency, President, former President Thabo Mbeki, again, I thank you for the kind words for the people of Morogoro,
So I think
and
that is
for the
what
university and the whole Morogoro community.
I hand over this.
And I just want to
Colleagues,
reiterate
those that are returning to
when
Dar es
I
Salaam,
mentioned
we will
it,
ask you
the
to
office of the
proceed
regional
to the
commissioner,
train station so that you don't run out of time.
I said specifically that the people who lie here did not fall in a foreign land. As far as the people of Morogoro are concerned, our comrades who fell here during the liberation struggle were also at home. And this is how we feel about our ANC comrades. And whenever we come here, we have time to reflect on those memories, on those common objectives that we had so many years ago. And I note from the dedication on the wreath, it says, of our time. It's specific of that particular time. And I thank you for reminding those of that generation and those of the present generation that liberation struggle was something that was a common objective for Africa and the entire humanity at that time. And I'm honored and privileged that you have come. And I want to insist that whenever you're in Tanzania, then I must remind you that this is your home. Thank you so much.